Hello, I'm Keith and welcome to another home media minefield, helping you with information to navigate the complexities of home cinema and home media entertainment. And for today's episode, I'm going to be looking at the Blu Ray release of The Haunting of Hill House. This is Mike Flanagan's 2018 series that is loosely based on the 1959 novel by Shirley Jackson. And we're going to dig into this right now. Now, this series gets a release on both DVD and Blu Ray. It doesn't have a 4K UHD release, and I suspect the reasons for that are purely economic, based on the fact that it would take more discs to produce a 4K version of this, and the consumer market for that just isn't great at this time. But they have done a really good job with the 3-disc Blu Ray edition, which is what I'm going to be looking at today. So in terms of the picture quality, this series was actually shot in 6K on ARRI cameras, but Blu-ray 1080p HD works fine for this. As I mentioned, when it was originally screened on Netflix, it was a 4K version. Having said that, obviously there is some compression involved with streaming, and the versions that they have on the Blu-ray here in terms of detail and color definition, etc., are very good and very clear. So, you know, it would be nice knowing that this was shot in 6K and that there is a 4K version of this out there, which is obviously corrected for high dynamic range, etc. But as I mentioned, for obviously budgetary reasons, they've only released it as a 1080p Blu-ray here, but they have presented this in its original aspect ratio, which is a 2:1 aspect ratio, and as I said, for my money, the picture on this looks very good, so I think any fans would be happy with this. In terms of the audio quality, again, when this was broadcast on Netflix, it was actually in a Dolby Atmos mix. For the physical release of this, we do get a 5.1 mix. I listened to it on my system, which isn't Dolby Atmos, and I can tell you that the separation of the surround sound was very, very good and very defined on this. It worked particularly well in episode 6. The 2 storms where there are thunderstorms, etc. going on, and you do hear a lot of background noises and sounds coming from behind you, etc. on that. So again, I think that the 5.1 mix is really good on this Blu-ray, but just a shame that we haven't got the full Dolby Atmos on this version. Now, in terms of what is special on this physical release, you may be asking that question. You're saying, well, it's not 4K, it's not Dolby Atmos, so why would I buy this and not just continue to stream it on Netflix while it's on there? That's a good question. For me, though, it really does come down to what they've done with the special features on this. First of all, what you get are 3 of the episodes you get extended versions of. These are extended by about 5 minutes per episode, so not huge, but there's some significant scenes and some character building stuff within this, and I always like it. It is what Mike Flanagan originally wanted to do, but obviously had to cut for pacing and time reasons. So you get that on here. But in addition to that, you actually get 4 excellent audio commentaries by producer Mike Flanagan, where he goes into huge detail on this. So you get an audio commentary on the 3 extended episodes, which are episode 1, Stephen Sees a Ghost, episode 5, Bent Neck Lady, and the episode 10, the finale episode, which is Silence Lays Steadily. So you get commentaries on all 3 of them, plus you get commentaries on episode 6, The 2 Storms. So this, for me, as a fan of this stuff, is worth having. Mike Flanagan's commentaries are among the very best. He is someone who grew up listening to commentaries himself and is a big fan of commentaries. He actually says at the beginning that he feels kind of sad that it's almost a dying thing now in the world of streaming. Commentaries are becoming less and less popular out there. That's why he really wanted the opportunity to do that on these extended versions. He goes into a lot of detail about the genesis of the project, his love of not only Shirley Jackson's original novel, but also the 1963 Robert Wise film, and how he took influences from them when shaping this story. He talked about essentially the fact that Netflix let him make a 10-hour movie here and let him direct all of them and didn't really interfere in any way. So it was very interesting to hear how he worked with both Amblin Entertainment and Netflix to actually produce this show and come out with this show. He talks about where all the various character names comes from. He talks about the fact that he's filming in 2 different timelines, so he goes into a lot of detail about that, and he explains why certain scenes were removed. There was one where there's an excellent, really long push-in take of a monologue of a character talking to Stephen at the beginning. That is slightly edited in the TV version, so he talks a little bit about that. He goes into a lot of detail on this stuff. For the commentary on episode 6, The Two Storms, which isn't the extended episode, it's the regular episode that aired, he talks a lot about that because this is the episode that simulates a single shot, if you like, even though it moves between 2 different time periods. And he goes into a lot of technical detail about this. He talks about how obviously he was inspired by Hitchcock's Rope and wanted to do something like that. He talks about the fact that this is actually 4 long takes within this, and how he had to work and rehearse with the actors, how they had a special set built with hidden lifts, etc., for the Steadicam cameras to move around. And he goes into a lot of detail on one of the takes, which is a 17-minute continuous take where the actors really knock it out of the park, but also the dolly grip does an amazing job, because for that they actually used a Pee-wee dolly, and he explains all about the blocking and the choreography, and even some of the on-set horror stories that kind of happened with that, and how they managed to sort of capture that magic on screen. And it really is magic when you see that episode. It works incredibly well. So he talks very passionately and very much in detail about this, which is fantastic. One of the things that I think is a bit weird about the actual menuing system on the Blu-rays is if you want to select the play all option, it only allows you to play the regular cuts of the episodes. So in other words, the versions that streamed on Netflix. If you want to play the extended versions, you have to specifically go in and select those episodes. So I found that a little bit annoying on the Blu-ray menus there, but that's a small price to pay. Other than that, unfortunately, you don't get any other extras, which is a shame, because Netflix did produce for their YouTube channel some behind the scenes featurettes. In fact, one of them showing you that episode 6 behind the scenes of that very episode, and features interviews with cast and crew. And it would have been great if that had also been included on this Blu-ray, which I think is a real shame. It might be a rights thing, I'm not too sure, but unfortunately you just get the extended episodes and the commentaries on here. But that, along with the high def presentation of this, in my money makes The Haunting of Hill House an excellent buy, and I would highly recommend it. If you are interested, there are links down below in the show notes of where you can get this. As I said, if you're a physical media collector, then I would highly recommend that. So that brings me to the end of another home media minefield. If you did enjoy this and actually found it useful, then please do like, subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss anything moving forward. Also, If you've got any comments, please put them down in the section below. If there's any particular films, TV shows, etc. that you'd like me to look at the physical releases of, I will happily do that for you. But yes, please do follow, share, spread the word, use the links below, and I really appreciate your time, and I will see you at the next one. And in today's episode, I'm going to be looking at the Blu-ray release of The House on Haunted Hill. Now, got any comments or questions, or you want me to review anything in particular, then please put some, and I will speak to you at the next one.